Your Excellency, Sir Edwards, Madame la Secrétaire Générale, Madame la Directrice, Monsieur le Directeur, Madame la Présidente de l'Association Shakespeare France, Honorable Chairman, elegant timekeeper, respected members of the opposition, optimist members of the proposition,
hear, hear.
Ladies and gentlemen. In the summer of 1956, on a deserted island in the Pacific Ocean, a man found himself lost. And for years, he was desperate to be rescued. He had managed to build a shelter. It was all he had. His only protection from the cold and his only reminder of civilization. One night, the shelter got on fire. Everything he had in this world went up in smoke. He cried and cried himself to sleep, stunned by his own misfortune. But in the morning, a human voice woke him up. "Sir," the voice said, "we saw your fire signal and came to rescue. You're safe now." Ladies and gentlemen, the same fire that burned his shelter and seemed to be his coup de grâce, in the end proved to be his salvation. All is well that ends well. Tonight, we are asked to consider these words by William Shakespeare. He used them as a title of a play in which a woman suffers a series of difficulties, but in the end achieves happiness. That is the definition of ending well, when we perceive the outcome of something to be satisfactory. Let me repeat, a positive outcome according to our perception. It does not mean we celebrate the negative parts in the middle. It means in retrospect, once a puzzle is complete and colorful, we accept its dark pieces because we understand that, as with the fire in the island, those dark pieces led to a brighter picture. Let us consider history and where we are right now. Yes.
And how many doctors were needed to get that man on the island over his shell shock once he was found?
What we're showing is that all is well that ends well means that the problems that you have encountered in light of a brighter picture don't matter anymore, that you accept them. That's what we're saying. Let us consider history and where we are right now. The excesses of the French monarchy led to the sacred principle of equality. The aristocratic ostentation of the Palais Bourbon and the Hôtel de la Paix led to the highest symbol of the people's sovereignty, the illustrious Assemblée Nationale. And the tragic breakup with Jennifer Aniston led Brad Pitt to Angelina Jolie. Now, that's what I call a happy ending. Now,
on
in
that
individual
point,
terms,
sir,
yes.
I'm wondering, as you're the government proposing this motion, how do you apply all your wonderful story to society?
There is someone who will take care precisely of that. A lovely Paul is our sociologist, and she's going to address your doubts with no problem. Thank you very much for your question. As I was saying, in individual terms, the dark pieces of the puzzle can also make you stronger. The greatest example is that of Franklin Roosevelt. When he was 39, he got the polio paralysis. And it took him an immense effort to learn to live with it. But he succeeded. And according to his wife's memoirs, fighting polio gave him what he was lacking to become a great president. It gave him the kind of confidence in his own strength that no one can have until life has been at risk. And it gave him the kind of passion for people who are suffering that no one can have until they have deeply suffered themselves. Ladies and gentlemen, polio is a very dark piece in the puzzle of Roosevelt's life, certainly. But it is a piece that allowed him to complete the brightest picture of all, that of glorious self-improvement and of epic service to his nation. Finally, let us go deeper with one last point. When a puzzle is complete and ends up being colorful, we accept its dark pieces because we understand that without them, the bright ones would simply not be bright. Without danger, courage would not exist. Without darkness, light would not mean anything. And without Justin Bieber, singers like Frank Sinatra would be just average. My scientific colleagues in the government will further develop how happy endings make us accept the dark pieces of the puzzle. John, our psychologist, We'll speak about the individual level and how this acceptance is determined by our psychology. The lovely Paul, our sociologist, will show us that this acceptance is necessary at a social level. Anas, our anthropologist, will go even further and say that this acceptance is what allows mankind to survive. And Joseph, our Canadian, will wrap up the government's proposition. Honorable members of the House, from an island in the Pacific to the Hotel de la See, and from Sinatra to Franklin Roosevelt, we shall acknowledge tonight that all is well that ends well. And this debate, ladies and gentlemen, is the clearest proof. Because the team that ends up winning tonight will look back at the efforts, the anxiety, the white knight, and accept them. Because they will have led to the brightest picture of victory. For all these reasons, not only I ask, not only I demand, but I urge you in the name of brightness and truth, of history and nature, of Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, that you support the government's proposition. Thank you very much for your time.